Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Anthony Robinson, and it's my pleasure to navigate with you through one of the most critical components of your doctoral journey, the literature review. For many, the thought of compiling a literature review is daunting, and this is a sentiment I completely understand. However, today we're not just going to simplify this process, we are going to master it. The literature review is more than a mere summary of existing literature. It's a comprehensive analysis that lays the groundwork for your entire research project. It's where you critically examine what has been said, identify where your research fits, and articulate how your work will advance the conversation in your field. By the end of this video, you will be equipped with the tools, the knowledge, and the confidence needed to craft the literature review that not only meets the academic standards, but significantly contributes to your field. So let's understand the literature review. Definitions and importance is where we should start. At its core, a literature review analyzes and synthesizes relevant literature to provide a foundation for your research. Imagine building a house. Your literature review is the foundation. Just as a strong foundation supports a house, a well-crafted literature review supports your research. It demonstrates your scholarly prowess, showing how you can critically engage with existing literature and identify how your work fills a gap or contributes new knowledge. Purpose and goals. The literature review serves multiple purposes. Firstly, it situates your research within the existing body of knowledge, showing you're not working in isolation. It's your scholarly conversation with past and present thinkers in your field. Secondly, it helps to refine your research question. By examining what's already out there, you can hone in on what specifically you want to explore. Finally, it identifies the gaps in current research, areas that you can address, challenge, and build upon. For instance, if your research focuses on the impact of online learning on student engagement, your literature review should cover existing studies and theories about online education, engagement strategies, and perhaps even psychological aspects of learning. By mapping out these areas, you can pinpoint where your research might contribute new insights or approaches. So let's talk about the preparation phase for your literature review. And the first point of that is developing a research question and methodology. So before you can dive into the literature, it's essential that you have a clear research question and a robust methodology. This isn't about setting limitations, but rather about focusing your inquiry. For example, a research question like, how does online learning affect student engagement in higher education? This narrows the field to higher education, allowing for a more targeted review. Your methodology also guides your literature search. So if you plan to use mixed methods, for example, you'll want to review both quantitative and qualitative studies to align your approach. This preparation ensures that your literature review is not just broad, but also deep, covering all angles of your research question. So let's talk about the prerequisites for a solid foundation. Think of your research question as your North Star, guiding your exploration through your vast literature. It keeps you focused, ensuring that every article, book, or study that you examine is relevant to your inquiry. Similarly, your methodology acts as the lens through which you view this literature, affecting what you look for in studies, how you interpret the data, and the significance you assign to the findings. Imagine you're reviewing literature on the effects of online learning on student engagement. You will encounter studies with various outcomes, some positive, some negative. Your methodology, be it surveys, interviews, or a combination, will help you critically assess these studies, determining what's relevant and what might be applicable to your own research. So now let's dive into the literature. Starting your search. Embarking on your literature search can feel a lot like standing at the edge of a vast sea. The key is to start with broad strokes, general searches on your topic before diving into the specifics. So database searches using keywords related to your research question are your first step. From there, snowball sampling, looking at the references of relevant papers to find more literature can help to expand your scope. Now let's talk about organizing your findings. As you gather literature, organization is paramount. So create a system to catalog your findings, noting key details like authors, findings, methodologies, and how each piece relates to your research question. This not only aids in writing your review, but also in identifying patterns, gaps, and trends in the literature. So now let's delve into the literature review. Remember, your literature review isn't just a dip in the water. It's more like mapping the ocean floor. So how do we start charting these depths? First, you want to craft a search strategy. So first things first, you need a game plan and you need a strategy. You wouldn't set sail without a map, would you? The same process goes for your literature review. Start by identifying your main research areas. So let's stick to our example, the impact of online learning on student engagement. You break it down into keywords and phrases: online learning, student engagement, higher education, etc. These terms will serve as your compass. Next, choose your databases wisely. Not all databases are created equal in each field of study. So if you're in education, you might start with ERIC or Google Scholar. For psychology, PsycInfo is your go-to. The key is that you find where your research community publishes their work. Now let's talk about Boolean operators: and, or, not. These are your navigational tools. Use them to refine your search. Online learning and student engagement narrows your search, focusing on studies that examine both concepts. Online learning or e-learning broadens it, capturing studies that might use different terms for similar concepts. Now let's look at screening and selection. With a vast sea of information before you, it's time to fish out the relevant studies. This is where abstracts are your best friends. They give you a snapshot of the study's aim, methodology, and findings. So ask yourself, does this study address my research question? Is the methodology sound? What can this study contribute to my understanding of the topic? So here you want to create a system to keep track of what you find. It could be a spreadsheet, a database, or a citation management tool like Zotero or EndNote. Log the citation, a brief summary, its relevance to your research question, and any thoughts or questions it sparks. This will be invaluable when you start writing. Now let's talk about reading and note taking. Now for the deep dive, reading the full text. But not every article needs to be read deeply. Start with the introduction and conclusion. They will oftentimes tell you if the article is worth a closer look. So when you do your deep dive, be systematic. Look for the study's theoretical framework, the methodology, the findings, and how it relates to other studies that you've read. Now, note-taking. Note-taking is an art. So develop a method that works for you. Some prefer handwritten notes, others prefer digital, but whatever you choose, be consistent. Summarize the key points in your own words, critique the study's strengths and weaknesses, and how it fits into the broader picture of your research. Now let's talk about writing, get into the nuts and bolts. So now that you've charted the ocean, collected the treasures of knowledge, and now it's time to tell the tale of your journey. Writing the literature review is about weaving the narrative that connects your research question to the existing body of knowledge. So start with an outline, break down your topic into themes or categories. For example, that might be theories of engagement, the impact of technology on learning, and methods that measure the engagement online. This structure will ultimately help you to organize your thoughts and ensure your review flows logically from one idea to the next. In your writing, be critical. Don't just summarize each study, analyze it. What are its strengths and weaknesses? How does it contribute to our understanding of the topic? Where does it fall short? And most importantly, how does it relate to your research question? Remember, a literature review is a conversation. You're engaging with the authors, critiquing their work, and positioning your research within the ongoing scholarly debate. Your voice is important, so So don't be afraid to express reasoned opinions and offer new perspectives. Let's talk about synthesizing the literature. This is where the true magic happens. Synthesis is about bringing together disparate studies to tell a coherent story. So look for patterns, trends, and contradictions in the literature. How do these studies build on each other? Where do they diverge? Where do gaps emerge? Your goal is to paint a picture for your readers of where the field stands, how your research fits into the larger puzzle, and why it matters. So you want to highlight the gap your study aims to fill and how it will advance the conversation. So you've set sail, navigated the storms of information, and charted unknown territories. The literature review is your map, your logbook, and your argument for why this journey matters. It's rigorous, yes, but also incredibly rewarding. You're not just a passive observer, you're an active participant in the scholarly conversation. So remember that your literature review is the foundation upon which your research is built. So take pride in this work. It's an opportunity to showcase your critical thinking, your scholarly rigor, and your passion for your field. And with that, my fellow scholars, I wish you fair winds and following seas on your academic voyages. The journey may be challenging, but the discoveries are worth the effort. You've got this.